Welcome to this longer lesson where I'm going to be actually editing this interview down to 1 minute. So thank you for all of you watching this. If you're jumping from the previous lesson earlier in the class, or if you've gone through the entire class and just wanted some extra lessons, then welcome. So what I'm going to do is just expand this timeline a bit so that I can see and have more space. Then I'm literally just going to walk through this video how I would myself, and I'm going to walk and talk through it. There might be a couple places where I'm just kind of listening to it, so there might be a little bit more pauses in this video than in other ones. So let's just get to it. So my sequence is set up. I have my audio from a camera up. I like having the waveform up so I can see where Anthony is talking. I can also tell where I'm talking and answering questions, because that's where there are audio waveforms, but they're a little bit lower. So anyways, let's just go through it.
When you were diagnosed,
The first part is where I'm asking questions, so I can almost just skip through to about this point where not only can I see him talking up here in the video clip, but I can also see the voice right here pop up right here for the very first time. So when I'm dealing with multiple layers, instead of using the slip edit tools, I typically use the razor blade tool, just pressing C on my keyboard and trimming that first part. So I'm just going to trim right there. I'm going to select this clip, delete it, select this space, press delete on my keyboard, which is backspace for PC users, and it just makes this part of the interview at the very beginning. Now I'm gonna just listen through the entire interview and cut out parts that I like. And now I'm doing this after I've already created the sample video for this course, so I already know where I'm going to make edits, but let's just listen through it and we'll see what I like and why I like those parts.
the same year I was diagnosed, that summer the whole ALS Ice Bucket Challenge phenomenon went viral.
I like that line. So I'm going to make my minute-long clip about the Ice Bucket Challenge. That's what this whole 6-minute clip is about. We did a 2-hour-long interview, so he talks about a lot of other things. And who knows, by the time you take this class, the short documentary might be out. We're having a music composer do the score for it right now. And so anyways, I like that clip, so I just make that edit. Sometimes what I will do to mark where if I like a clip or not, I'll just move this A camera shot up to track 3 just for now, so I know that that's the clip that I like.
And it was insane to see, because ALS has been in my family. Like, I've been around it for such a long time, but nobody spoke of this disease. Nobody knew what it was. And here,
I like those clips a lot. I like that he's talking about ALS has been in his family, which isn't explained in the final cut that I did before. I'm not going to select it now just because I'm trying to replicate what I did before, but there's so much good stuff. And that's why this is so hard to cut down to a minute, because there's so much good content.
my news feed was filled with everyone that I knew and their mama's baby's mama doing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, dumping ice water over their head. And
so I like this part of this line because it explains what the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge was. See how it starts?
my news feed was filled with everyone.
My newsfeed was filled with everyone and their baby's mama. I think that's what he goes on to say. We can trim out the first part of that sentence, so it's just everybody.
Filled with everyone.
Everyone. And a cool trick that you can do while playing through your edits is playing with the J, K, and L buttons on your keyboard.
With everyone
L
that I knew.
will make your video play. J goes backwards.
Everyone that I
And you
knew
can
and their mama,
press
baby mama doing the
LL twice to do double speed, and JJ twice to go backwards double speed, and then K pauses it. So if I need to find specifically where it is, I can press L.
News feed was filled with everyone.
And I see it's right in there. Instead of using my mouse to move it right there, I could use J to go backwards, and I could also use my keyboard to go frame it at a time. I know it's right there. I want to start before he says everything. This little peak right there is where he starts to say everything. So I'm taking my razor blade tool and cutting it there.
Everyone that I knew and their mama's baby's mama doing the ALS ice bucket challenge, dumping ice water over their head.
Okay, I'm going to edit right there after he says head, trim, using the razor blade tool, move this up. So that's the selection now. So if I zoom out, you can see I have one selection, two selections.
And not everybody knew or understood what this disease was, but I didn't care. If they were saying the words or the letters ALS and bringing attention to it, I was happy, you know? So I was just sitting back watching all that happen.
Since I did this interview, I know that there's other lines that I like better that show his emotion and show what this meant to him. So I'm going to not choose that line, even though it was a good line. But if you're an editor and you didn't shoot your own project, sometimes you have to listen through an interview multiple times so that you know where a good part is or a not good part is.
And eventually it came to a point where people became frustrated and didn't.
And this is a section that I didn't use in my own edit. So this is where he starts to talk about his frustration with it, how people became frustrated with the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. And it's a very powerful part of the interview. It's just something that I didn't select. So hopefully some of you might choose this one.
And we're annoyed from the challenge. And then a lot of people didn't really understand the realities of this disease either. They were smiling, dumping water on their head because it was, I don't know, for all kinds of reasons. And I had someone that made a very negative post that I read that motivated me to make my Ice Bucket Challenge. He's a friend of mine, a mutual friend of mine, told me that, or wrote on his wall or on his status saying that if somebody does the Ice Bucket Challenge again, use gasoline and light yourself on fire instead or something like that. And I was just like, you know who I am. You know I have this disease and my mom has it. Why would you say that?
So this is a completely different part of the interview that I didn't select at all. For my video, I thought I wanted to give a kind of overview of what he's talking about, but maybe you might want to dive into just this part of the video, just this part about how someone made this offensive comment. It's up to you.
And so a lot of my motivation in making that video is out of frustrations and frustrations that I've been keeping inside and I wouldn't even voice to my own family about. And so I did all the fun part. You know, I jumped into a bikini and I washed my car and I did all that fun thing because that's why the Ice Bucket Challenge was successful. I thought, you know, it's because it was fun. Nobody talks about this disease because it's.
Okay, so he talks about doing the Ice Bucket Challenge. I think I'm going to keep that part. I might edit it out later.
So I did all the fun part. You know, I jumped into a bikini.
And you can see that while I'm playing,
So I did all the fun.
I can still take the razor blade tool and make edits. And that's another thing you can do once you start to become a more efficient editor. Is you can be playing through listening, but also being making edits on the timeline.
You know, I jumped into a bikini and I washed my car and I did all that fun thing because that's why the Ice Bucket Challenge was successful. I thought, you know, it's because it was fun. Nobody talks about this disease because it's ugly. You know, that doesn't go viral. But as soon as somebody does something random and fun, it goes viral. And so that's what I did. And then and that was funny, I guess. And then at the end, I was like, I'm going to talk to the camera.
Okay, so I'm going to just cut it somewhere in here. I'm going to have to make some more minute edits a little bit later on when I start cutting this down.
And that was funny, I guess.
So I'm just going to select this, move it up as a selection.
I was like, I'm going to talk to the camera. I turned on the camera when nobody was in my house, and I just talked to it. I didn't know what I was going to say, and it became emotional, hysterical almost, because I was listening to myself and realizing how unfair this was. And then it went viral. It blew up. First day, I got 100,000 views.
Okay, so I want to keep this part about going viral.
And then it went viral. It blew up. First day, I got 100,000 views. And then the next day, I got 1 million.
Okay, gonna keep that part.
And by the end of that day, it was like 5, 10. It was going viral, and it was crazy. My phone was dinging 10 times a second. No exaggeration.
All these little moments, I could have chosen this part versus that part. And to me, it's more of just like a gut feeling of this is what I want to choose. But I could be wrong, and that's why it's important to get second opinions on your edit to see, okay, is this line that he's saying powerful enough? Maybe I should have used this other line. And I'm sure some of you have feedback, or maybe you're listening to this interview now and you're like, wow, Phil, why didn't you use this clip? This is so much better. And that's what's great about video making. It's an art, and it's a personal way to tell a story.
No exaggeration. It was going ding 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 ding. I never get notifications ever, and my phone was going berserk. And I turned off all my notifications. Like, what is this? All my family came to the house. What is going on? We're getting all these views. We're getting all this support. We're getting all this love and encouragement. All these words of affirmation. Like, it was just insane. It was crazy. Going viral is weird. It's like a crazy.
So I want to keep this little part about where it's insane. He says it's insane.
We're getting all this love and encouragement, all these these words of affirmation. Like, it was just insane.
I like that little part because it kind of wraps up. He says it went viral, and then he says it was insane, and that's kind of like a conclusion to that thought.
It was crazy. Going viral is weird. It's like a crazy thing, and that was like a week-long process. And I challenged Ellen DeGeneres because Ellen brought so much hope to my mom and laughter and fun. She watches her show every day.
So this is a part that I didn't include either. He went on the Ellen show. There's actually photos, screenshots of him on the Ellen show that you can go through. And I don't have the rights to distribute these commercially, so just educationally, we can use these for our own personal use, but know that we can't post these and try to sell these videos or anything because I didn't get the rights to using these screenshots. But for this fun little project, you can play around with using this story about going on Ellen because it's another one that I think is really cool. You can make it all about the whole minute piece about going on Ellen.
Laughter and fun. She watches her show every day. My mom's in bed laying there every day because she's immobilized. She's paralyzed almost completely. And, you know, she watches the show and got a lot of joy out of it, you know? And it's been her dream to go to the show, let alone, like, you know, her doing a ALS Ice Bucket Challenge for us. So I challenged Ellen, and a week after I made the video, we got a call from the Ellen show, and we got invited.
So I'm not going to do it now, but sometimes when I'm playing through an interview, I'll listen to it in double speed just by pressing L twice.
And we got invited. You want to go to the season premiere of our show? You're going to be the first guest. And I was like...
So it's hard for you to be listening to that throughout this lesson, but if I was doing this on my own, sometimes I listen to long interviews at double speed so that I can get through it a bit longer or a bit faster.
This is crazy. This is no way this is happening. And so my mom got to go to her show and also see her son sitting in that chair right next to her. And it was such an incredible experience. Ellen gave her a hug. My mom waved to her with her foot. And my mom, I think Ellen loves my mom more than she loves me. My mom's a beautiful soul. You're going to have to meet her one of these days. But so yeah, that was that whole thing. It just blew up. And that was incredible to see. And it brought a lot of needed attention and awareness to this horrible disease.
Okay, I'm going to take this clip for now because I think that's another good wrap up.
So yeah, that was that whole thing. It just blew up, and that was incredible to see.
So I'll just take from, and that's incredible.
And so you know, in a weird way, I think that's why I talk about this disease in always a very hopeful way, always a very positive way, because I know that's going to translate better to everyone. You know, I'm going to say, yes, here is what I'm going through, but also here's what you can do to help. You know, there's plenty of call to actions that will help promote research and fund research and development and insurance and just anyways, yeah.
So you can see that during this interview, which I was actually doing myself, I let him just kind of ramble on. And I think that's good when you're going for sort of an emotional story like this one, where I just want him to get deep. I want him to say what feels right. If you're doing more of a PSA, a corporate video, and you need someone to stick to a certain line, as an interviewer, don't be afraid to jump in and, ask the question again or say, I really like what you said. Can you say it in this way or that way? So that was a long part of this interview where I just let him go. And then here I ask another question.
No, that's great.
So what kind of support came from the Ice Bucket Challenge for you? And did you meet other people?
Sure.
Who
Yeah,
helped
so
you out?
I think the Ice Bucket the video going viral, the biggest thing to me meant that I wasn't alone.
I really like that line, so I'm going to take it now. I know I'm selecting more than I have in my final piece, so I'm going to have to edit it down, but we'll do that later.
And it meant that there are a lot of other families going through this disease, and they're realizing that they're not going alone too. That they're not going through this alone, and that they are allowed to be vulnerable. And not only are they allowed to be vulnerable, but they should be vulnerable, because how else is everyone going to understand the devastation this disease brings, not just to one person, but to an entire family?
All of this is really good stuff, but I'm not selecting it just because I'm trying to replicate my initial cut, but all really good stuff.
You know, and so I always encourage families, because it's really hard to do, but to be open, to share your journey with this disease, because we need change. We need support, and we can't get it without you voicing it. You know, you can't keep that in the house. So the biggest thing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge brought was hope and awareness and advocacy and a voice.
Okay, I'm going to take that.
So the biggest thing that for a disease that literally will take away my voice, you know, and for a demographic of people that is small and underserved and has never gotten the level of awareness that it's ever needed, this was huge for us, you know. So
okay, I'm going to take that whole clip. I know I have to edit this down. I can just tell from the timeline right here, that's 25 seconds right there, and there's no way I can keep that entire line with all of my previous selections, but for this, I think it's good.
You know, that's bigger than that's bigger than anything. That's bigger than getting on any other news program or anything like that. It's just the fact that, yeah, just that. But, so yeah, a lot of money was...
I made a cut right there. I think I gave you a clip, or these two clips have a couple edits in there just to shorten it down.
So yeah,
right there.
A lot of money was raised for our cause, essentially. But we still need a lot more support.
And I love this last line because it wraps everything up together. The ALS Ice Bucket Challenge was great, but you know, it's still, we have to live with ALS.
You know, I know it was one summer of fun, but this disease is every day for us, you know, and it's still here, and there's still no cure. And so we need continued support until this beast is gone, you know.
Okay, I'm going to cut right before he says, you know. I'm going to move this interview clip up to track 3. I'm going to zoom out, and now I can see all of my selections. Easy, right? All of my selections. I want to just mention another way to do this if you're just shooting with one camera. Say I just had interview and this was the only camera. Instead of putting it on my timeline like this, I could just listen to it through my source monitor, make selections with my in and out points, and then drag it down to my timeline. That's totally fine if you want to do it that way, but with a 2-camera interview, you have to put them down on your timeline first and sync them up. So if this was actually a documentary I was working on, what I would do is name this sequence. I'll call this selects, okay? Or you know what I would call this? Synced interview. Then I would duplicate this just by selecting it, copying it, and pasting it in that folder, calling this selects, double-clicking this and opening it up. So now I have the selects timeline open. Then I'm going to get rid of all of the non-selects just by selecting them, deleting them. See that? Pretty easy. Then I'm going to delete all of the space in between the selects. And we'll see how much time I have selected. So I have just 1.5 minutes of selects. That's going to be too long, so I have to edit this down. So then before I start editing this down though, I'm first going to move the interview A camera down to track 2 for video. Then I'm going to take the selects, copy it, and paste it again, and call this Anthony V1 or whatever you want to call it, but V1 for the first version. And then I'm just going to close these tabs for selects and B-roll edits and synced interviews. One thing that we haven't done is turn on our autosave, and you saw that it did do an autosave right there. If you haven't done so already, go up to Premiere Pro CC, go to Preferences, go to Autosave. This opens up your autosave options. You definitely want autosave on, this check mark right here. And depending on how fast you edit, you might want to save it every 5 minutes, every 3 minutes, every 10 minutes. I do 5 minutes because I think that's a pretty good amount of time. Sometimes I do a lot of edits within 5 minutes, but 5 minutes is usually fairly safe. And then you choose the maximum project versions. So it will save 20 versions, and then it will start replacing those after, say you did this for over 100 minutes, then it would start replacing those first versions that you say auto-saved. And these will save in the same place where your project is. So see here, we talked about those capture scratch settings in the very beginning when we open up the new project. Here we have Adobe Premiere Pro autosave folder, and we have all of these autosave files. And you can see 11:11 saved at 11:17, 11:22. And if for some reason your project crashes or you want to go back to how the project was at the start of the day, you can do that with these autosaves. Anyways, that's just a quick note. Let's continue with editing this down. So now we have our Anthony version 1 sequence. We can make all these edits and not be afraid that we can't go back, because we can go back to our selects timeline. And I'm just going to play through this and trim stuff down.
The same year I was diagnosed, that summer the whole ALS Ice Bucket Challenge phenomenon went viral. Everyone that I knew, and there was...
So I could, just to save time,
phenomenon,
edit out this phenomenon word. So if I take this phenomenon word out, it goes from, let me just bunch these together.
The whole ALS Ice Bucket Challenge went viral.
So that's a complete sentence. The problem is now I have to cover this cut. See, there's like a very minute cut. We have to cover that with B-roll, unless you don't mind there being jump cuts in your video. So that's something to keep in mind as you're cutting down these sentences.
Viral.
So I'm just going to undo that and leave him saying phenomenon went viral.
Everyone that I knew, and there was their mama's baby's mama doing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, dumping ice water over their head. So I did all the fun part. You know, I jumped into a bikini and I washed my car and I did all that fun thing, because that's why the Ice Bucket Challenge was successful. I thought, you know, it's because it was fun. Nobody talks about this disease because it's ugly, you know.
I'm just going to start from nobody talks about.
Challenge, dumping ice water over their head. Nobody talks about this
because that's a complete thought. I don't want to get to his video yet. I want to just go from the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge and it went viral. Nobody talks about it.
Nobody talks about this disease because it's ugly.
Yep.
You know, that doesn't go viral, but as soon as somebody does something random and fun, it goes viral. And so that's what I did. And
then he says, and that's what I did.
And that was funny, I guess.
To save time, I'm going to really get in here and slice it up.
It was viral, and so that's what I did.
And so that's what I did.
And
I'm just using my keys to get to that point and delete this part.
And so that's what I did. And then it went viral. It blew up. First day, I got 100,000 views.
Okay, so it went viral.
It blew up. First day, I got...
See how he says...
Blew up.
It blew up. It got first day
I got 100,000 views.
First day I got 100,000 views. I can just trim out this middle part right here. Because then he restarts his sentence saying first day, and that just saves half a second.
Went viral. It blew up. First day I got 100,000 views. And then the next day I got 1 million. We're getting all this love and encouragement.
Okay, so this is good, but see here when this clip starts?
We're getting all...
See that weird sound he's making? I'm going to cut that out. And for now, I'm just going to cut out the audio and not the video.
1 million. We're getting all this...
So I'm going to press Option on my keyboard, click just the audio, and drag it in.
1 million. We're getting all this love and encouragement, all these words of affirmation. Like, it was just insane. And that was incredible to see, and it brought a lot of needed attention and awareness to this horrible disease. The biggest thing
So he says this line. I'm actually going to get rid of this line because he says it's...
Like, it was just insane.
It was just insane.
And that was incredible to see.
And then he says it was incredible. He's kind of repeating himself. I'm just going to delete this entire clip. See where I'm at with my minute. So I still have to cut out 15 seconds.
It's insane. The biggest thing to me meant that I wasn't alone. So the biggest thing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge brought was hope and awareness and advocacy and a voice. For a disease...
Okay, so these, again, are kind of repetitive. He says the biggest thing for me...
The biggest thing to me meant that I wasn't alone.
I wasn't alone. And then he says that again, and I like this part about the voice.
And awareness and advocacy and a voice.
And a voice. But then he goes on to explain what that voice is.
For a disease that literally will take away my voice.
Okay, so I'm just going to start from there. For a disease, delete that. So it goes from...
To me meant that I wasn't alone.
I wasn't alone.
For a disease that literally will take away my voice, and for a demographic of people that is small and underserved and
then I'm just going to cut from
literally will take away my voice.
Literally will take away my voice, and then cut straight to for a demographic.
Is small for a demographic.
Another way, instead of selecting these, deleting, selecting this, and then deleting, another way to do that basically same thing is press A on your keyboard. A brings up this track select forward tool. And if I select or click on my timeline, it chooses all of the layers to the right. See that? To the right of where I click. If I want a single layer, I can press the Shift button, and it will just click a single layer and whatever audio is attached to it. But I can use this to select everything to the right and just drag it over the left.
Literally will take away my...
And while that's selected, I can also move or nudge these clips. To nudge your selected clips, just press the Command key on your keyboard and press the left or right arrow keys. And or the Shift command, left or right arrow keys, and Control if you're on a PC. So for any clip I have selected, I can press Command left or right on my keyboard, and it nudges it to the left or right. That's a good thing to know so that you can make those minute edits.
Take away my voice. For a demographic of people that is small and underserved and has never gotten the level of awareness that it's ever needed, this was huge for us. But we still need a lot more support. I know it was one summer.
So I already see a couple things I want to get rid of. To make an interview sound smoother, I get rid of those ums or that ers right here. He says, so I'm just going to get rid of these. With the A, select all of it to the right, and just drag over.
A lot more support. I know it was one summer.
And then he says, I know.
It was one summer. I know
He says, I know it was just one summer. He repeats himself. So I'm just going to make that cut. Drag the selections to the left. So he just starts with the second one.
More support. It was one summer of fun, but this disease is every day for us, and it's still here, and there's still no cure. And so we need continued support until this beast is gone.
So he has another in here, which is just something that English speakers say, so I'm going to get rid of that.
It's every day for us, and it's still here, and there's still no cure. And so
I like this whole end. but we are still over a minute, and I'm very strict with that minute length. We have to get this under a minute, so I have to cut down about 2 seconds. So I'm just going to listen to this one more time and see wherever I could cut it down.
The same year I was diagnosed, that summer, the whole ALS Ice Bucket Challenge phenomenon went viral. Everyone that I
So maybe that phenomenon part could be a bit to cut out.
knew, and their mama's baby's mama doing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
Here's a little bit. And I know that for some of these parts, I'm going to cover it with B-roll because I know what B-roll I have. And that's a good thing to look through. What B-roll do you have? What photos do you have? I've got some social media posts. These are things I can put over this part so that we don't see any cuts that I actually make in the interview.
Everyone that I knew, and their mama's baby's mama doing.
And so I'm just going to cut out this repetition of and theirs.
Knew, and their mom that I knew.
So I'm just going to make this selection, nudge it over to where my timeline indicator is.
That I knew, and their mama's baby's mama.
So that's good. There's an audio cut right there that we're going to have to add a transition to smooth it out. We'll do that later.
Everyone that I knew, and their mama's baby's mama doing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, dumping ice water over their head. Nobody talks about this disease because it's ugly, you know, that doesn't go viral, but as soon as somebody does something random and fun, it goes viral. And so that's what I did. And then it went viral. It blew up. First day I got 100,000 views.
Okay, he keeps saying viral, it went viral. So I'm going to get rid of this, it went viral, and see what the interview sounds like.
As soon as somebody does something random and fun, it goes viral. And so that's what I did. First day I got 100,000 views. And then the next day I got 1 million. We're getting all this love and encouragement.
Okay, so I think that's pretty good. And we still got half a second left, but that's good because we don't need him to repeat himself. It went viral. It went viral.
I got 100,000 views. And then the next day I got 1 million. We're getting all this love and encouragement, all these words of affirmation. Like, it was just insane. The biggest thing to me meant,
I think that part, because he doesn't complete his sentence.
this love and encouragement, all these words of affirmation. Like, it was just.
He's about to say and all these words of affirmation, but then he cuts himself off and he says it was just insane.
Insane. It was just insane.
So I'm just gonna say it was just insane. Start with
We're getting all this love and encouragement, all.
We were getting all this love and encouragement. It was just insane.
Love and encouragement. It was just.
It's a little bit too much. And you can see that I can select multiple clips, drag, and do a trim edit.
Encouragement. It was just.
Selecting, nudging everything.
Encouragement. It was just insane. Love and encouragement. It was just insane. The biggest thing.
Something like that I think will work with a little audio
I
transition.
wasn't alone. For a disease that literally will take away my voice.
Oh, that's another part. For a disease that
Disease that literally will take.
takes, and then he says literally will take.
Literally.
So I'll just go
Literally that takes.
for a disease that literally takes.
Disease that. For a disease that literally will take away my voice.
So that's a more complete normal sentence.
For a demographic of people that is small and underserved and has never gotten the.
And I think we're under a minute, but I'm just going to watch through this.
But we still need a lot more support. It was one summer of fun, but this disease is every day for us. And it's still here, and there's still no cure. And so we need continued support until this beast is gone.
And that's fine that it ends there. We have 1 second left. This allows us to let a few of these lines breathe a little bit more if we want to add some space in between the lines, so it's not just what I call wall-to-wall audio. Just from 0 seconds to 60 seconds, he's just saying stuff. Sometimes in our videos, it's good to let moments breathe, especially when you want to add emotion to something. Just let something sink in there for a minute. Pause for a few seconds. We don't have that much time to do that with just a minute-long video, but for a longer piece, that's something to think about. So we have our project now. Thank you for watching. I don't know if anyone's watching this entire lesson, but if you are, congrats and kudos to you. It's time for you to do the same thing. Find your selections, edit it down to a minute, and we'll go back to the section previously that you were on, and we'll start to add B-roll to this footage.
Bonus, 2 other concepts. Welcome. In this lecture, I'll show you how I designed entry 3 and 4 from the previous contest. I won't guide you through them because there's nothing I haven't addressed so far in previous lectures. That means you won't have any commentary, the audio will be muted. If you have any questions about a particular technique or step, let me know in the comments section and I'll reply immediately. If you're not interested in seeing me work, especially without any audio, feel free to jump to the next project. Thanks.